How you doing, everybody? This is Joe for the Joe Wentz Project TV right here on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. What is today's video about? I was thinking earlier. I said, man, I wonder if I could show some of my favorite licks that I like to do. I try to take some of my favorite guitar players and kind of put my own spin on it. You can tell the influence real heavily. With one of my main influences. I got a couple that are similar in style, but I like doing some blues stuff, So that right there is just a slide up from the G string on the 3 and the B string on the 2, and we just slide up. And it's very important that you underpick that, You're not downstroking, I call it underpicking. Upstroking would be the correct term. So I hit a downstroke in the beginning and slide it, and I use that high E, the open high E, to accentuate, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of. Got that from Stevie. Now I know that's not note for note what Stevie would do, but that's my little spin on it. That's how I like to do it. What's another one? Another cool little blues lick that I like I don't know where this came from. That's just something I like to do. It's like a walk down. So you're on you're on the G string. This time you're on the 4th fret, and you're on the high E on the 4th fret. So you're skipping that B string. You don't even play the B. It's muted. So you start on the 3rd fret and you slide up like that and hit that high E, and you just walk down. I guess they would call that chromatically. I'm not a guitar teacher, as you can tell, but and then you hit it open on the G, and you hammer on the 1st fret on the G. And then you're going to let your middle finger land on the 2nd fret on the D string. And let those two ring together. I think that's really awesome sound. Again, slow. There's different variations you can play that. You don't have to do it exactly that way. But I think it's cool. It's I think I got that from a Leonard Skinner song, and I can't remember where that came from. So really, that's the same lick. It's just I played it, going up the neck. And then down, you get. And hit that open E. So just kind of put the cherry on top, right? So that's a couple of blues things I like to do. You can do that just about anywhere if you kind of know your basic places where to go, which that's pretty much all I know. Like, let's say you were in A, and you go to that basic pentatonic, that blues box. Something like that, just noodle like that, right? But in that box, you can do stuff like. I always thought that was a cool little lick. So you're on the 7, on the what is that? The B and the G, and I hit that and bend up like a half step, and you go down a whole step on the 5 on the 5th fret on the G and the B, like there. So it's like this, real slow. Now I land, you hear that little accent, and that's on the 7th on the D string. All right. So together, if I do the whole lick, it's... You can do that, or you can land like that. That's the fun thing I like about blues. You can either be right there on that mark, or down a step, or sometimes even half a step. So... Or you can land like this. That's what I love about that. So that's a real easy lick. It's really important to use your vibrato, right? Always work on your vibrato. I still work on that now. So let's see, what's another one? So now we get into some rock style things, right? And I love using octaves a lot. All right, there's two great licks right there. So octaves, they speak a whole lot, in my opinion. So if you don't know what an octave is, you know, you can, in the key of E, I'd be on the A string on the 7th fret, and the G string on the 8th. So the D string you're not playing, it's muted, right? So octaves, and I got this from Steve Vai, is where this came from. That's where I got that from. It's like I said, it's just kind of my own little spin on it, because I can't play note for note like these guys. There's no way. So I just kind of do my own thing. So octaves are really, they come in handy a lot. So they're real melodic. So that's octaves. And then there's a, I don't know the proper term. I don't know the proper term of what you would call this lick. I don't know. I've heard muted harmonics. I don't know. I've always sometimes just made up my own little terms for certain licks because I didn't know what they were called until I found out years later. But this one, I've always called it icicles. You know, like on the cartoons back in the day, and you see somebody do something with icicles off a roof, and it had that kind of sorta, but this always reminds me of it. This lick here. And Eddie Van Halen does it a lot down here. He does these pull-offs. He does that, but I kind of struggle with that. Computer's wanting to go dark, sorry. I struggle with that for some reason, so I just I do it up here and just do a hammer on. It doesn't matter, but I can make it snap more, you know, like that. So what you're doing there is you're just hammering on the 5 and the 7 on the A. Real strong, good hammer-ons, and I'm letting the flesh of my hand just barely touch the string, and I'm sliding my hand down slowly to about the beginning of the neck, and then bring it back up slow. Sometimes it works better with a little bit more distortion. I find anyway. So let's see. I call that icicles. That's what I've always called it. All right, you heard another lick right there that I do a lot, and that's called, I call it like the Eddie Van Halen scream, or a lot of people call it the horse whinny, you know, which Eddie did classify that as a horse. I remember on Live Without a Net when they were in the backstage area, and they're warming up, and Eddie's got his classic striped guitar, and he's doing all these different things. You want to hear my elephant? Want to hear my, you know, mice and all this stuff, you know? He's doing all these cool little tricks, you know. But I remember him saying, "You want to hear my horse?" And he did that, and that is, of course, I got that from him, because when I heard him do that, I was like, "What in the hell is that?" I thought it was the coolest sound, so I do it a lot, and that's I just, yeah, I stole that lick straight up from Eddie, man, because it sounds so damn cool. But anyway, that's another one. You just it's kind of tricky. It took me a while to get. Sometimes I can nail it, and sometimes I can't. But after some time has passed, I'm getting a little bit more accurate with it. So, how do you do the horse whinny? Okay, you if you know what a pinch harmonic is, you got to let's say I'm on the G string on the 4th fret, right? And if you do a pinch harmonic, is when you let the flesh of your thumb just barely get even with the end of the pick when you strike the note, and it gives called a pinch harmonic. This is without, this is with. Of course, add your vibrato, right? So Eddie will sometimes do the single note, and sometimes he'll do 2. So you got the 3rd string on the 3rd string. The 4th fret on the G string and the B string on the 5th fret. And if you hit both of those, if you listen real close, you can hear them both. So it's really cool. It's a cool way to slide a kind of a ear-catching lick. You're like, whoa, what was that? Like I say, sometimes I can nail it, sometimes I miss it, and I've seen Eddie do the same. Everybody's human, right? So the horse whinny, that's how you do that. I find it best works right in that area, what I just said. Now that was both notes right there, so that's what that sounds like. Or you can go down a step to the 2nd and do it there as well. Okay, so these are some of my favorite licks that I like. Of course, there's the tapping. I like the tapping stuff a lot. I remember when I first saw Eddie do that on the solo, his guitar solo from Live Without a Net, and I was just like, holy smokes. So everybody knows what tapping is. I don't need to go over that. That's been around for decades, right? So anyway. And so I got my loop pedal here, and I come up with this little blues riff. It's kind of like something in E. So we're just going to jam around on that. I'm going to unplug this mic, so you might hear it kind of, a slight pop or whatever. But so we're just going to noodle on that. Nothing fancy at all. And we'll do some of these licks that I just showed. Okay, hang on.